suffering fans have more hope now than ever. New Jersey is riding a wave. The confidence is high, and they'll be hoping the party rolls on to a 3-1 lead tonight. ESPN, the network of the National Hockey League, presents the road to the Stanley Cup, the oldest trophy competed for by professional athletes. The Stanley Cup playoffs, the most grueling competition both mentally and physically in all of athletics. Who will be the sole survivor come the end of May? Tonight, the road to the Cup continues with another Patrick Division semifinal game. Live from the Brendan Byrne Arena in East Rutherford, New Jersey, it's Game 4 between the New York Islanders and the New Jersey Devils. And a pleasant good evening, everyone. Welcome live to another edition of ESPN's Road to the Cup. Tonight, Game 4 between the Devils and Islanders. We'll be going to East Rutherford, New Jersey in a moment. Some stories we will be watching tonight, along with the goals and highlights around the National Hockey League. The Montreal Canadiens, Stanley Cup champs 2 years ago, could take the first step to another title tonight. Will they sweep the Hartford Whalers in 4? We'll follow that story. A Cinderella story, you're looking at the team, the Cinderella team of the playoffs, the New Jersey Devils. They're on a roll, and they have a chance to go up 3-1 tonight against the Islanders. Playoff streaks developing. Chicago broke an 11-game losing streak in the playoffs last night. Winnipeg won last night for the first time ever in the playoffs against Edmonton. LA won a home playoff game for the first time in 6 years last night. Hartford is trying to avoid its 8th straight playoff loss tonight. Boston and Buffalo are on the verge of setting a new NHL record for penalty minutes in the series. Currently 474 coming into tonight. The league record is 611 set by Hartford and Quebec last year. And Wayne Gretzky is frustrated in Winnipeg. He has only 3 assists in 3 games in this series. The line of Steen, Olsen, and Smale doing a job on number 99. And doing a job on the NHL's playoff format are you, the fans. By a 9-1 margin last night in our 900-number poll, you say yes, there should be some changes in the NHL playoff format. We'll give you another chance to voice your opinion throughout the evening tonight. But now the matter at hand, Game 4 of the semifinal round in the Patrick Division, the Devils and the Islanders. Let's go live to the Brendan Byrne Arena and the Sultan of sartorial splendor, Mike Emmerich.
Well, they gave us pom-poms last night, Tom. Tonight, they're 19,096 here, and they've handed out something different. It'll be a sea of white. This is our toy for this evening, Bill. What do you think?
I still can't get it to make any noise. I think it's defective.
Well, while he's dealing with that, and right now not too successfully, let's talk about the goaltenders. At this stage, where you have one team ahead 2-1, you go with the guys that brought you. For the Islanders, that's Kelly Hrudey. Hrudey's the man who got them here and performed so well in that first game, the one that went into sudden death overtime. But on the other hand, the Devils have got to come back with the guy that shut out the Islanders last night, Sean Burke, the rookie who came down the stretch and got them here in the first place. What about those check marks, Bill?
I look at the check marks identically to last night, except go down to the bottom of the intangibles. Still 2 for the Devils, but for different reasons. Number 1, Sean Burke. Number 2, I think the Devils are a Cinderella team. I found a glass slipper in the parking lot. I thought it was a beer bottle, but it's a glass slipper. I really think the Devils are a Cinderella team.
If you got to make a call, Bill, what do you say?
My head says the Islanders, but my body, which is bigger than my head, says the Devils.
They're in the anthem here, Tom. We'll be ready to go in just a moment.
All right, Mike Emmerich and Bill Clement, fasten your seatbelts. Over 19,000 will be rocking the Byrne Arena tonight in the Meadowlands. 5 other games already rocking arenas around the National Hockey League underway. In the second period, Boston leads Buffalo 2-1. The Bruins looking to go up 3-1 in that series. Washington leads Philadelphia 2-1 at the Spectrum in the second period of play. Detroit and Toronto, it is 3-0 Red Wings over Toronto. Red Wings looking to take command of that series. Hartford leads Montreal 2-1 in the second period at the Civic Center in Connecticut. Winnipeg now leads Edmonton 2-0. The Jets have added another goal. So the Winnipeg Jets are seeking to even their series against the Edmonton Oilers. We'll have scores and highlights of all the games tonight as the Road to the Cup continues on ESPN.
So no matter on that boot away by Kelly Hrudey. Game 4s are interesting because unless a team is up 3-0 as Montreal is over Hartford, it can be so crucial to one team and it can be important to the one that's ahead.
Well, I think it's important for the Devils because it's their home game. I think the team that wins this hockey game tonight will win the series. I'll take it one step further. I think the team that is leading after 2 periods will win the series.
Puck lodged on the back of the net, and a little bump there from Delgarno and Curvers, and Pat Verbeek comes in to say, no, you don't do that, and was sent flying. We should mention that during the warm-up tonight, there was a little bit of intimidation going on as Mick Vukota encroached on the red line over the other side while the Devils were warming up. He and Ken Danico exchanged mock swings of the stick.
Well, we're picking up right where we left off. Only 21 hours has gone by. Nothing has changed. Even the names haven't been changed to protect the innocent because there aren't any innocent. Brad Delgarno gets 2. Nobody is in the box for the Devils. So Ron Hogarth has whistled a 2-minute penalty to Brad Delgarno. It's going to be real tough for everybody to hear in this building tonight.
Hogarth thinking, didn't I just leave this behind in Philadelphia last night? He had a lot of penalties to call there, too. And now, having taken a seat in the box, is Tom Curvers for the New Jersey Devils. So it appears that the penalties will cancel. These are the 2 teams with the best defensive averages in the playoffs this spring. This is game 4. Devils lead 2-1. We're 33 seconds into the first period. Along with Bill Clement, Tom Mees back at our studios. He'll keep you posted on all of the other games. Some of them have gotten a good start by now. That'll be on an ongoing basis in case you've not seen our coverage before, during all of the periods and also filling up those intermissions. Jim Schoenfeld wanted to know why they were even for a moment, and then wanted to know why the positioning of the face-off was there. But of course the Islanders' point men pinched in after the whistle, and so the face-off was taken out to center ice.
Well, Curvers is also in the penalty box. I hadn't seen him go in there. I thought it was a power play for the Devils, but he whistled coincidentals to Curvers and Delgarno.
LaFontaine rattles one. Kerr is there, chopped at by Ken Danico, and going back to take it is Mark Johnson. Johnson spins off the skates of Kerr, but LaFontaine is there to help it back. Craig Wolanin turning back to play on defense for New Jersey. Took a hit, but got the puck on to Johnson. Johnson, the leading scorer for the Devils in the playoffs. Wrapped up and carried to the glass by Thomas Janssen. Kerr turns. Conroy takes. Has Randy Wood on the left. Wood a scratch in last night's game. Back to get this is Kirk Muller. Able to pivot away from Kerr. Captain of the Devils, Muller to Broughton, and then along to John McLean. Henry able to push it through Sorella, and it's dropped back in by Trottier. Slung along by Burke. Waiting is Diddick. Gets away from the reef by Muller. Puck shouldered away by Burke. Diddick, but ducking out of the check that time was the man back deep for New Jersey, Randy Velishek. Trottier carried off to the wall by Muller. Back come the Devils. It's a 3-on-2. Velishek hurries one, and that deflected away by Dennis Potvin. Sorella keeps it moving along to Muller. Flips one in front off the skates of Broughton. They battle for it, but Potvin is up with it for the Islanders. And we get a stoppage of play, and Ron Hogarth is going to box a couple more. 17:42 to go, first period. Miners up again as we have a scoreless game.
With every Budweiser enjoyed, the promise.
The Road to the Cup on ESPN is being brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. And by the 1988 German-engineered Volkswagens and your Volkswagen dealers. And by Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires.
Play stopped now as the puck was cleared into the seats. And Bill, it gives us a chance to follow up on something. You'd indicated that the second period score is going to be a significant number tonight. Why?
Well, it's the 4th game in 5 nights. A team that's leading at the end of 2 periods will really have an advantage in protecting lead. You can let the puck do the work. When you're trailing and trying to play catch up, you have to do the work with your legs and with your bodies. When you're ahead, all you do is keep dumping, and wearing the other team down. These will be tired teams in the 3rd period.
Danico, a shot ricocheted wide. Penalty coming up, and already protesting is Brent Sutter, but he's headed off. And the first power play of the night will belong to New Jersey. I wonder if someone had the idea that those white hankies would be waving bye-bye to the New York Islanders, at least for their Meadowlands Arena portion of this series.
Well, I think the Devils will have to start capitalizing on their power plays sooner or later in this series for them to I guess, give their fans the satisfaction of waving goodbye to the Islanders with these white handkerchiefs that they've given out. The power play situation for the Devils, to me, has been dismal. There's Brent Sutter. He's off for holding. He held Dave Maley right in front of Kelly Rudy. Maley made it look pretty good after the fact, and he went down. But the Devils have to start doing something on the power play. And Sean Burke could hold, all right? He could hold and knock out the Islanders by himself, but it's a long haul.
Islanders better at penalty killing right now than they were in the regular season, but of course they've had fewer cracks at it. And the Devils' power play has suffered. They are 2 for 21 so far in this series. Puck pointed to Wolanin. Over to Driver. Fires one. Score! It is a sea of white.
The man that's getting congratulated at the Devils bench. The play came back to Craig Wolanin, who moves it over to Bruce Driver with his head up. Look, he never looks down at the puck. All the way in to Dave Maley, number 8, who is standing in front. Steve Conroy, 33 in blue for the Islanders, moved towards him. Couldn't get there in time. Watch 8, right at dead center bottom of your screen. Here it goes. Watch Maley move in. Nobody is in front of Kelly Rudy except Dave Maley, and he gets a piece of it right under Kelly Rudy. And the power play gets off the ground for the Devils.
It only took 20 seconds from the time Sutter sat until he was released, with the Devils ahead in the game 1-0. Potvin carried off by Conacher. This is Doug Brown. Turnarounder was off his skate. And we get a stoppage of play. Rudy had quickly put it in play, and I think Ron Hogarth was anticipating when he blew the whistle. But no matter, there'll be a face-off in Rudy's end of the ice.
Number 9, Kurt Muller. The time of the goal is 2:52. That's Driver, his first of the playoffs.
Driver is getting credit for the goal now. Wolanin and Muller the assist, so it appeared to us that it might have gone off Maley, but apparently that wasn't the case. So for Bruce Driver, that's his first ever playoff goal. They should be able to hear all of this chanting all the way to the New Jersey Turnpike, which is about 1,500 yards or so away from the outside of this arena. Potvin checked. Wood dumps it by Sorella, followed up by Belichick. Slams one into Randy Wood, and it's tapped back out. Joe Sorella, one of 2 players who actually played for the Colorado Rockies, the predecessor to this franchise. The other, Aaron Broughton. Chopped back in by Brown. Rudy swings it. Alan Kerr starts out. LaFontaine had it poke-checked away by Belichick, and then shoulder. And then Brown tried to run into LaFontaine, but missed with a good deal of it. Loisel is back. Tips out to Ken Morrow. Punched away from him. Thrown in by Leiter. Belichick back. Tests with Kerr. Trottier taps it along, but it's Belichick for New Jersey. Just under 16 minutes to go first period. Both teams with a shot. The Devils with a goal. Trottier sails by Kerr. Burke to help out. Glasses it back, but it is drilled back in by Makela. And Burke will just hold on. And that's what we'll do here. Noisy arena, heralding the Devils with a lead of 1-0.
Take fans, tonight is Front Plaza deals for you.
Volkswagen. 2 in the second. Washington leads Philadelphia 2-1 after 2. Detroit bombing Toronto 5-0 in the second. Hartford leads Montreal 2-1 in the second. Edmonton trailing Winnipeg 2-0. Chicago's just tied up St. Louis 1-1. Let's get back to the Meadowlands. Mike and Bill.
Puck taken by Ken Danico, who got the first goal in the game last night. Directed deep by McLean. And it is Conroy for the icing touch-up. And again, some chatter, this time involving McLean and Thomas Johnson.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what the Islanders do to try and master Sean Burke, who was just outstanding last night. You know, the Islanders have felt that they can beat Sean Burke low. And last night he made 5, 6 outstanding saves with his pads right along the ice. So now what do? Maybe they'll mix up their varieties of shots, some high, some low. Sean Burke, to the Islanders at least, hasn't appeared to have a weakness yet.
34 of the 86 penalties have been for roughing. And we have some that are being served now. Or were most recently served as the puck tapped on out. Moving with it and sailing in is Sundstrom. Rudy grabs, turns over to Conroy. Pestered by McLean. Puck to Trottier. Henry is nearby. Delayed offside is wiped initially, but now it will be whistled down, as it appeared that the Islanders were going to be able to control, and once they got possession of the puck, that caused the stoppage of play in a neutral ice faceoff. He's had some problems so far in games 2 and 3 anyway, hasn't he? Mikko Makela.
He has in the playoffs. You saw 36 goals during the regular season. Only Pat LaFontaine had more goals than Mikko Makela. It's been a tough run for Makela and LaFontaine. Both of these teams excel in neutral zone forechecking, and that's something that wasn't even existent in hockey until, well, the turn of the decade, early 80s, when teams started bottling up the neutral zone. LaFontaine and Makela haven't been able to wheel and deal. Neither has the Muller line. The Islanders have been excellent in the neutral zone.
Sutter battling. Melee comes by. Back to Potvin. Dalgarno can't get it through to Sutter. Melee won't let Sutter play. Melee starts it ahead to Perry Anderson, then over to Doug Sullivan. Sullivan with a shot that ricocheted wide and is held by Kelly Rudy. Let's go back to Tom Mees.
All right, in Winnipeg, the Jets, Mike and Bill, on a 3-on-1. Oiler defenseman Steve Smith goes down. Dale Hawerchuk passes in front to Ian Duncan. He gives it to Andrew McBain. Great passing, great goal. Winnipeg leads Edmonton 2-0 in the first. The Oilers look rattled at times, and that's surprising, knowing how poised they are, Mike.
Boy, isn't that the truth? So Winnipeg gets on the board first, and that important because the Jets have drawn to within 1 game in that series. They lost the first 2 in Edmonton and then won last night 6-4. Boy, was it a big night for 5-on-3s. We've talked about that. The Jets had 3 of them last night. Los Angeles had 3. Boston had 4. Neither of those 3 teams converted a 5-on-3 all night.
Penalty killing's been outstanding in the playoffs. It's about this time in all of the series when you have to start wondering, does a team that ends up knocking another team out in 5 or 6 games have an advantage? And I think it will be a decided advantage, especially in the Wales Conference, in the East, especially in the Patrick Division. Every day of rest will be so important to these teams.
Ken Morrow from the faceoff. Wraps to Alan Kerr. Through Kerbers. Randy Wood moving toward it, but Burke just swats it away. LaFontaine taken to the boards by Kirk Muller. Driver, Broughton, Muller. Verbeek. Offside. We mentioned that line, and the fact that the Muller, Verbeek, and Broughton line has only collected 1 point in the 3 games. Some other numbers as to how the goals in this series have been scored. You mentioned the power play earlier, Bill. Devils have 1 of their goals on the power play tonight. The Islanders coming in had 4.
You know, on the check mark list before the game, I gave the Islanders a check mark and I didn't give the Devils a check mark. It had nothing to do with numbers. I decided to throw those out the window. We're far enough along now that I just take a look at how the power play is functioning. And although the Islanders didn't score last night, they were, to me, 3 times more effective the way they moved the puck than the Devils.
And they got some great chances on Sean Burke while doing so.
Sure did.
They haven't gotten their first power play of this game yet tonight. The Devils have had 1. And they scored on it. Verbeek lays it to Muller. Jolted a little bit by Conroy. Muller still trying to pull away. Conroy trying to wedge it. Pat Verbeek comes by. Falling down is Broughton. He stares back at the referee as it's Johnson turning on to Trottier. Doesn't find much room. Makela nicely denied by Driver. Henry back to Johnson. A shot is turned away by Burke. Henry once more. Rolls it along for Trottier, but the referee in the way, and Trottier a word with him as on comes Driver. Flipped it to a wing that was empty because Broughton had been held up. Trottier to Makela, moving along with Henry. Makela surrounded by red, white, and green. Cirella drops and Belichick has to pick it away from Makela. Tipped along to Brown. Then to Conacher. Loisel the trailer. Conacher's shot is tipped to the seats by Dennis Potvin. Devils 1, Islanders nothing. Midway, period 1.
Season have the engine revved up tonight. Stefan Richer gets a rebound off the stick of Mike Liut, puts it by the Hartford netminder. Richer poking in the loose puck there from Smith and Lemieux at 13-17. Game's tied at 2. He scores a few more goals. He's going to get a Cadillac, Mike.
Well, they're hammering out some good tong shots here. Anderson and Diddick, just as a face-off was about to take place. One linesman with a little better position on his man than the other. And finally, Ray Scapanello gets his man Diddick down. Majors coming up. They earned them. 12:38 left in the first. Still 1-0 New Jersey.
Ilka Sinisalo, the Flyers, shoots the puck. It's loose. Dale Hunter, behind his own goal line, tries to bat it out of harm's way, but watch. He hits it off his own goaltender's stick and into his own net. Credit Sinisalo the goal, 1-0 Philly. Later on, Michael Pavanka crosses the blue line and drills one past the splitting Ron Hextall. 1-1. Late in the first, Pavanka digs it out of the corner to Bengt Gustafsson, who one-times it by Hextall. At the second intermission now, it is 2-1 Washington on top. Meanwhile, at the Auden Buffalo tonight, Sabres on the power play in the first period. John Tucker threads a perfect pass to Pierre Turgeon. Unmarked to the left of Lemelin, made it 1-0 Buffalo. Still 1-0, loose puck in front. And Bob Joyce of Boston shoots it by Darren Pupa. It is 1-1, end of 1. Now in the second period, Ray Bort fakes Pupa, goes around the net, feeds Keith Crowder for the easy goal. And with the score 2-1, late in the second period, John Tucker passes to Dave Andrechuk. Andrechuk has a Bruin draped all over him, but still puts it by Lemelin. It is Boston 2 and Buffalo 2 after 2. Let's go back to New Jersey.
Puck just sailed out of play at the Devils bench. Gives us a chance to tell you about the penalties. Diddick fighting, Anderson fighting. Diddick high-sticking, Anderson high-sticking. But an additional roughing minor went to Perry Anderson. So the Islanders have their first power play. And they'll use Brent Sutter with Trottier on the left and Makela on the right. Potvin and Leiter, the point men. Bill mentioned earlier, the Islanders played very well on their power play. They just didn't succeed.
Well, I talked about the Devils tonight having to score. I think it's equally as important for the Islanders to score, especially the way Sean Burke is playing. This is their golden opportunity to get something by him. If you set it up right, it doesn't matter how good the goalie is, you're going to score on the power play. So with the way Sean Burke is playing, should he continue to play the same way tonight, the Islanders have to get something on their power play too.
Here's Potvin, wide, and it's held by Sean Burke.
So what do you do against a guy like Sean Burke? Well, when a goalie is that hot, his most precious tool is his vision. You've got to try and take his vision away. The only way to do that is set up a screen. The second most precious thing that he wants to have is his space, his crease, not to be bumped into. If the Islanders can take away his space, crowd him quite a bit so that every once in a while they are running into him, and when he goes to move from one side of the net to the other, he runs into them. So the vision and the space. And the third thing, quantity. There's nothing like quantity, although there has to be some quality mixed in there. You've got to keep directing the puck at him. Every shot on net is a potential goal, and 100% of the shots you don't take don't go in.
Brent Sutter, who you were just looking at, may be the Crowder Bill mentioned at the front. A shot, save off of Trottier, and the rebound punched away. And Sutter with an exchange glaring at Cirella.
Well, he had an exchange with Burke first. Burke was crowded by Sutter. That's the crowding that we were talking about. The Islanders, Sutter just backed right into him. Burke was able to make the save, and then he got help from Cirella in trying to clear Sutter out of the way.
Kelly Rudy will set it up for Potvin. The Islanders are halfway through this first power play. Trottier steps on Cirella. Sullivan and Cirella time up, and LaFontaine is in. Gets it to Leiter. Over to Potvin. Devils has really moved to them quickly. It's Makela now. Side to LaFontaine. No opening through Burke. Trying to clear Conacher, but it's Potvin keeping. Then for LaFontaine, but off him. Now helmetless is Cirella. Trottier trying to work one. LaFontaine across, but it's cleared by Belichick.
Boy, LaFontaine wants one. He wanted a penalty called there in the worst way. He thought Conacher, whoa, look at this.
A giveaway and a chance now for Sundstrom, and the shot blocked away. Glaring goof. And it's now near Burke. And the Islanders ice it well on the power play. Man, oh man. This is a Devils team that has scored some of its most impressive victories on shorthanded goals, and they nearly had one.
I think Kelly Hrudey was out to cut down the angle. He's hit the hash marks. Here's the man that took the shot. Doug Brown, who was signed as a free agent out of Boston College. A nice little addition to this hockey team. Excellent penalty killer. Scored a few goals during the regular season.
And he had 2 in the come-from-behind win at Washington, the first ever for this franchise in March. There were 2 late in the third that broke a 2-2 tie. Devils won that game 4-2. Penalty time is up. Alan Kerr moves ahead. Hands to Basson. Swivels one right into the glove of Burke. Danico clears. Basson shouldered. Puck flipped to the front, and it kicks back to Basson. Then to Conroy, and a shot tipped away by Burke. Bill mentioned get in front, and that's what the Islanders have been trying to do. Conroy through the legs, but to McLean. Sundstrom can't get through. Janssen clearing it away, and Ken Danico, the opposite number 3, playing for the Devils.
There you see it, 47 seconds attack zone time, only 1 shot on Sean Burke. That's not really running on all cylinders right now.
Danico shoves, but Leiter is there. Dalgarno stripped, but the play followed up by Sutter, and a shot went off Ken Danico. Loose puck to the front. Oh, and a short side attempt by Dalgarno is saved. Dalgarno flips again, and both times he got Danico. Morrow drives it off of Derek King, and it's cleared down by Danico. There'll be an icing call to stop the clock. 9 minutes, 27 seconds to go in the first period. The Islanders have outshot the Devils 5-2, but trail in the game 1-0. Sets it up for Morrow. It's off Kerr. A chance for Driver. Deflected. Muller wrestled off, but got a backhander away. Where is it? That's when you want to have help. And Pat LaFontaine was there. Hrudey didn't know it, but he had it.
He had it all right, but he had no idea. You're right where it was. It was kind of a broken play. The puck was sent around the boards a little too hard for Alan Kerr to control. Watch Kirk Muller's concentration. Spinorama, he's got great balance. Just great athletic skills. We've seen him in so many games do so many interesting things with his balance and with his hand-eye coordination. Here it is again. Look at Ken Morrow leaning all over him. Oh, there it went. It dropped right between his legs.
Devils have gone now with Loisel, Dave Maley on the left, and on the right, Doug Brown. Cirella right point, and on the left point, it'll be Belichick, but now Loisel has to leave. Gives us a chance to tell you that the Islander forwards are Henry on the left, Trottier at center, Makela on the right, with the defense, Conroy and Janssen. Hrudey in goal for the Islanders. At the other end, Sean Burke. In case you're just joining us, this is Game 4, best-of-7 series. Devils lead the series 2-1. They're ahead in the game 1-0, and Loisel and Thomas Janssen. Conroy came in, leaned a little, but was very careful not to be the third man in a brewing altercation, because that carries with it a game misconduct.
Well, you can expect to see 19 for the Devils. Claude Loisel go at it, but Thomas Janssen, that's not necessarily his style. I think you could search his records and find that I don't know if he's been in a major in his career.
While these gentlemen cool their heels, let's go back to Tom Mees.
All right, Mike, in the first minute of play at the Spectrum in Philly, Mike Ridley of the Capitals takes a shot, and Ron Hextall gives up the easy rebound to Mike Gartner. Washington, seeking to tie this series, leads the game 3-1 early in the third period. Now a chance for hockey fans to speak out again tonight. Do you think there should be changes made in the NHL playoff system? If you think yes, dial 1-900-720-0030. If you think no, dial 1-900-720-0033. We'll charge you 50 cents a call. I guess I should say the phone company charges you 50 cents a call. But vote and give us your voice. Now let's go back for more penalties in New Jersey, Mike.
Doug Sullivan was taken down in bulldog fashion by Potvin. Bailey came in just to reinforce. It'll be Potvin only who will go. And yes, they're using those white handkerchiefs to way to him.
Well, he caught Doug Sullivan up high, and Sullivan's skates just went. I'm not sure that this wasn't an outstanding dive, but watch it. This will be a great look at it. Watch Potvin corral him from behind. Well, once you end up getting collared like that around the neck, you don't have to do much to make it look good. That was a penalty any way you look at it, whether it was a dive or not. Dennis Potvin off for holding. Doug Sullivan just back from a knee injury. His first game in this series. He missed the first three. He told us before game 3 that he felt he was ready, and tonight he said to us, I'm ready. I don't know if I'm going to play, but I'm going out for the warm-up. He's got to be a happy guy right now. Toughest time of year to sit and watch. Toughest.
Devils have excess players tonight. They have scratched 7, and the Islanders have scratched 9. And we noticed that one of them was a man we alluded to earlier who was becoming rather ornery in the warm-up. That was Mick Makota. He was out there to at least cause the Devils to think a bit about him, even though he's not even going to be playing. Puck held, and again a face-off will come near Rudy. As you see, boy, what a warrior. Ryan Trottier, another one of those masters we've mentioned.
He's still logging a lot of ice time against the Muller line. Once again, we're looking at the Muller line. Now, tonight, Kirk Muller has been credited with an assist. Should that goal be changed somehow, we thought it was Maley that had perhaps scored it. Muller would lose his assist since he was the first guy to pass the puck around. But the Muller line has still not exploded for anything in this series. That, to me, is still a positive for the Devils. They have to get on the board, and they will get on the board.
Driver to Broughton. At the front is Verbeek being worked over by Morrow. Muller across, and the shot went wide by Curvers. Good setup by New Jersey. Broughton denied by Conroy. Driver tries to glove it along, and it's forced further and well by Rich Crown. Curvers to Broughton. Curvers breaking. Broughton holds, has appointment in Driver, but goes deep to Muller. Morrow is there, so it must be taken by Broughton. To Driver, trying to keep it on the line, and he did. Broughton winds up. A side of the net shot goes off the mark by Verbeek. Penalty coming up to the Islanders. Verbeek has it knocked away. Islanders gain possession. 5-on-3 coming up for the New Jersey Devils. 7:46 to go in the first. Devils 1, Islanders no score.
Volkswagen engineers have spent years refining our front-wheel drive, rack and pinion steering, and four-wheel independent suspension. Because the engineers of Volkswagen believe it's not just how fast you go, but rather how well you go fast. 1988 Golf, only $79.90.
In Philadelphia, the Washington Capitals pouring it on. Dale Hunter, who's been having words with Ron Hextall throughout the series, scores on Hextall here. It's 4-1 Washington. Hextall leaves the game. Mark LaForest has replaced Ron Hextall in Philadelphia. Mike?
Mark LaForest, that will be his first ever appearance in a Stanley Cup game.
Boy, there's the difference in the 5-on-3s. We have another one right here in front of us. 30 this year, 10 last year at this time of the playoffs.
And you can see overall power plays are whoppingly up. Curvers off LaFontaine. Polo move. And it's forced further by Sutter. So Johnson goes back to get it. Turned across to Sundstrom. Handed on to Mark Johnson. Plays it across to McLean. Then Curvers and McLean once more. Curvers. Wide. Rebound. Score!
sure there's anything worse that can happen to a team that's trying to kill a two-man disadvantage than having the puck come off the boards the way it did right there. Toughest thing to defend against. Give a lot of credit to Tom Kurvers. How many times have we talked about the fact that you have them outnumbered in front? Look at all the Devils. All you have to do is get it towards the net. Don't try and score. So Kurvers made the smart play. Wrist it towards Kelly Hrudey. He didn't even have to hit the net. John McLean was there to score another power play goal, and the Devils are up 2-0.
Well, it wasn't too great a regular season until it got to the last week or so. But boy, has John McLean ever been the hot man for the Devils. And it's really a good thing in the playoffs for Devils' fortunes because the main line has been shut down from scoring goals.
That's McLean's 5th goal in the last 5 games if you include the last game of the season.
He got the tying goal and the winning goal in their storybook comeback into the playoffs at Chicago. And that was just a week ago tonight. Driver connects to Sundstrom. It's a 5-on-4 for 1 minute and 5 seconds. Driver fires, hit the post. Rebound McLean up over the crossbar. Man, oh man. Here is Johnson. To Driver. Hammers. Triples. Wide. Sundstrom hit hard by Alan Kerr. Sundstrom looking for McLean. There's more room with Driver. Kurvers. Pass tip. Set high by Sundstrom. Kerr tries to clear. Driver in the way. Johnson checks with Conroy. Able to step free with it. 25 seconds power play. Sundstrom to Johnson to Driver. Shoots. Tipped wide as Sundstrom got a piece of it. But it appeared Hrudey did too, and the Islanders are finally able to clear. It'll be interesting to see the attack time on this power play.
Lots of it. All kinds of it.
5 shots apiece. Devils lead 2-0. 4 seconds to go on the power play. Danico regathers. Out of the box comes Morrow. Aaron Broughton for Verbeek, but it's taken by Dennis Potvin. And Potvin scales one down. Danico drills. Makala can't stop, but Potvin can. Along to Trottier. Ken Danico wraps it along for Muller. It kicked on over to Broughton. Broughton lined up by Trottier, but ahead comes Muller. Drops it over for Wolanin, and his shot was hard off Hrudey. The rebound is hung up in the equipment of Kirk Muller, and Ron Hogarth blows the whistle, stopping play. McLean, his 3rd of the playoffs from Kurvers and Johnson. McLean is the only player with a point in all 4 games of the series, and that includes Islander players too. Terry Simpson makes a change in Islanders.
As we look at some of the action around Kelly Hrudey. There's the shot from Bruce Driver that hit the post, and you can't help but think Sundstrom just missed the rebound. It's one of those deals where you hit the post and you say, man, that could have made it 3-0. That might be a key thing by the time this game ends. Look at that. Not once this season has that Muller line been held without a goal for 4 consecutive games. This is the 4th game that they are playing without a goal.
Devils have scored 3 in all 3 of the previous games. They have 2 in this one. The lead in the game with 4:59 to go in the first. And there have only been 11 total shots so far through the first 15 minutes. 6 by the Devils, 5 by the Islanders. A Devil goes skidding. The fans are booing. The puck tipped out near Doug Brown. Leiter off the glass for Dalgarno. A cluster of 5 battling. Stepping free is Brown to lob it away. Ken Morrow back to get it. Gave it up to Brown. Slot pass broken up by Leiter, as he did have Loisel open, but couldn't get it through Leiter. Loisel shot wide. Brown overskates. Hrudey flings it along to Dalgarno, but Cirella keeps. Second effort, but it's given up to Sutter. The captain of the Islanders steps ahead. Feeds over to Lauer, but the play goes offside. 4:11 left in the first. Muller has an assist. McLean with a goal. Driver with a goal. Devils lead 2-0.
Today, you need an insurance company that looks out for you.
Play, Howard Chucker. This is Marois with a shot to Howard Chuck over to Paul McLean. Beautiful passing again by the Jets. They lead Edmonton 3-0. Goal to Paul McLean of Winnipeg. In other action tonight, in Toronto, it is a rout. This is Brent Ashton breaking in, taking the puck away after a Toronto giveaway, 8-0. Detroit leads Toronto, a real blowout, Mike and Bill.
8-0. If Tom hadn't watched every one of them go in, you'd hardly believe it, would you? Doug Sullivan to McLean. Double teamed and wrestled off by Diddick. He still got a centering pass away, but that one is taken and worked by Derek King. You just think of an imaginary line drawn across the circles in the Islanders' end on back to the backboards, and the Islanders have been back there deeply, forced there by the Devils a lot in this period. Conroy plays it into the glove of Burke. Handed over to Driver. Puck tipped by Muller into Crom. Muller hit hard by Crom, and then McLean hit from behind by Kerr. Rudy scoops over to Janssen. Beveled down by Broughton. Muller trying to plumb it loose with his stick. Still the battle continues. Janssen finally able to secure it with 2:46 to go in this first period, and the Devils leading in the game 2-0. Well, we talked about the physical nature of this series. I'm sure that the others Tom Mees has been watching have been just as physical. What have you now, Thomas?
Well, speaking of physical, Mike, there's always Buffalo and Boston. 16 seconds into the third period, the Sabres on the attack. Pierre Turgeon, perfect pass to John Tucker, who beats Reggie Lemelin. It is 3-2 Buffalo. They're going nuts in the odd early in the third period. Back to Meadowlands Arena.
Didn't I pick them in 7? Oh, yeah, now I'm going to jump up and say, hey, everybody. I wasn't feeling too good when the Bruins went up 2-0.
Well, I called the Bruins a finalist. What do you think it makes me feel like?
Oh, there's a
Go
lot.
ahead, rub it in, Clement.
Listen, there's a lot of hockey left in all these series.
2 aside on the battle, and Morrow comes in with the last shove on Broughton. And again, a face-off to result near Rudy. We're talking about the physical nature of the game, and just to bring up the notion that Terry Simpson told us before the first game that he felt that the Islanders were not likely to initiate the physical, but could do better if they were forced to it, and they have been. Speaking of physical, Buffalo leading Boston 3-2. Washington over Philadelphia now 4-1.
More physical, too.
Skunking Toronto 8-0. Montreal and Hartford are 2-2. Shot to the front is picked away by Ken Morrow. Trottier starts ahead. It's a 3-on-3. Along to Makela. Then Trottier. Kerber shoulders him. Henry watched by Verbeek. Every time an Islander touches it, it just seems the Devil is right on him. Now it's Henry. Checked by Verbeek. Melee forces up to Broughton. A man breaking Verbeek, and he shot it wide. Henry for the Islanders, back to Trottier. Islanders hoping to get some offensive going. The shots are the same as they were about 7 or 8 minutes ago. 6 for the Devils and 5 for the Islanders. But there have been chances at the end of the ice to our right. Virtually none at the opposite. Lauer turning. Has Delgarno, but fires himself, and a good stiff shot. Handled by Burke. Dennis Potvin retrieves for the Islanders. Between periods, Tom Mees will look at the Bud Light scoreboard. He'll have all of the scores from all playoff series, and we'll be checking in with other action around the NHL. That's all in the first intermission. Rudy swings it away. Dropped in deep, and so in that area back deep in the Islander zone, the Islanders must play once more. Dennis Potvin along to Diddick. Returning to Potvin. Then to Sutter. Watched by Sorella. But the puck to Belichick. Guides to Brown. Brown starts in, but is called on an offside. So with 56 seconds to go, if the score ends this way, the Devils would have to be very pleased with this first period.
You bet. Absolutely. Boy, right about now, mental toughness. You know, we talk about it, and as each series goes by, talk about mental toughness. There's Pat Verbeek drinking from a bottle. He has to feel as if one of these times something has to bounce in off him. 46 goals during the regular season. He just had a great chance that didn't go in. But mental toughness, well, the Islanders are a little younger than the Devils team, but they grew up a lot in last year's playoffs, didn't they? That 7th game in Washington that went to the 4 overtimes, then facing the Philadelphia Flyers. So they know about mental toughness. The Devils, I think they are there. I don't think that they could get any more mentally tough than they are right now, having had to go down the stretch the way they did, playing their first game on the road in the playoffs, playing the first home game and winning it last night. They are there. The uncharted waters area, I think, of the Devils are all finished. They know where they are now.
Wood jabs one, but over to get it is Mark Johnson. Tried to reach Sundstrom, but Basson drove it away in the final 25 seconds of the period. Pointing up what Bill said, if you're an Islanders fan and you're a little discouraged right now, remember that only 4 times in the last decade has a team come from 3 games to 1 down to force a 7th game. And twice in the 4 times it was done by the Islanders, both times last year. Against those opponents he mentioned, Washington for a win, Philadelphia for a 7th game loss. 1 second, no time. It's all done for the first 20 minutes. He had to stop half a dozen. He got them all. Driver and McLean, the goal scorers, 2-0 Devils.
You can hear the understandable pride when modern brewers talk about the time they spend brewing their beers, or the time they spend lagering them. True, this reflects effort and care. But for Budweiser, some things take even more time. Like waiting for a big beechwood tree to grow from a small beechwood tree. For all the years past, and the years to come, this is the kind of time and the kind of care that go into your beer. Beechwood aged Budweiser.
Deck owners, want your deck to look like this again instead of this? Big job? No. This bright, natural look was restored with Woolman Deck Brightener. It's new. Just mix with a gallon of water. It's safe, fast, easy to use. From the Woolmanized, pressure-treated wood people. Restores an average deck in about an hour. Woolman Deck Brightener. Part of the Woolman family of deck stains, water repellents, and preservatives. Woolman, products for decks that last.
Today's small cars are tougher than ever on oil. Their high-compression engines not only rev high, they can run hotter than regular small car engines. Their searing heat can...
In New Jersey, it's getting rocky for the New York Islanders as they trail Sean Burke and the New Jersey Devils 2-0. You have to wonder when the Islanders are going to dent the nets in the Meadowlands. Burke now has pitched a shutout the past 4 periods and also played very strong in Game 1 of this series at the Uniondale-Nassau Coliseum. Now, in Hartford, the 3rd period of play is underway between the Whalers and the Montreal Canadiens. Whalers need to win this game or their season is over. And in the first minute of play, Hartford made a statement that if they're going to go down, they're not going to go down easy. 59 seconds of the first period, and it's Dave Babich who already had 1 Hartford goal on the night, skating in and putting a shot right through the pads of Patrick Roy. A bit of a weak goal there. Hartford leads it 3-2 in a game, of course, they have to win or their series with the Montreal Canadiens is over. So now that we've set the stage, let's check in live, why don't we, to the Civic Center in Hartford. Sellout crowd on hand. Dick Urban and Scotty Bowman are there to call the action. Gentlemen, what's happening? The Whalers and Canadiens.
Blocked by Carbonneau, and Gavin has it. 3-2, the Whalers lead the Canadiens. 3 minutes gone, 3:47 gone here in the 3rd period as Gainey comes into the zone. Hartford in with a backhand off the pad of Lemieux. Gainey falls heavily. Gets up, he's okay. That's right in the spot where Peter Svoboda was injured last night. And we are going to have a penalty call on the Whalers by referee Bob Hall as Gainey was dumped heavily deep in the Hartford zone. So the Canadiens, who trail by 1, will have a power play opportunity here in this 3rd period. So Bob Gainey ridden roughly into the boards, and the Whalers will be short-handed. Of course, Montreal is cruising in the series, leading 3-0. Even if Hartford wins tonight, they face the improbable prospect of going back to the form in Montreal and trying to win a 5th game
on Tuesday night. Meanwhile, at Chicago Stadium, the Chicago Blackhawks trying to pull even with the St. Louis Blues in their Norris Division semifinal. The Blackhawks lead this game by a score of 2-1. Everett Santapass was the man that put the Blackhawks on top. This goal unassisted. Santapass breaks in. Greg Millen appears to go down too soon, and Santapass just puts it below his right armpit and into the net. Now, a great save coming up here by Darren Pang. This one on Cavallini of St. Louis. Pang puts the right pad out there. The puck hits the pad, slides under him, and Darren Pang's stick, the back of his stick, kept the puck from going over the red line. So Darren Pang, as usual, facing a lot of shots from St. Louis tonight. But the Blackhawks, apparently their strategy is, hey, we're not that good a defensive team anyway. Let's just let the guns loose and try and outscore the opposition. And so far, again, tonight it is working at Chicago Stadium. And the road to the Cup continues on ESPN in a moment. After one period in our main telecast tonight, New Jersey leads the Islanders 2-0.
Miller Ford is out to break all sales records. We have the area's largest selection of new and used Ford cars, trucks, and vans ready to roll. If you're planning to buy a new car or truck this week, visit Miller Ford, a 1988 Ford Taurus L wagon with air conditioning, automatic overdrive, rear defroster, cruise control, and more. For a limited time, take advantage of Ford's $750 factory rebate and buy this Ford Taurus L wagon for only $12,238. So what do you say?
Miller Ford.
Miller Ford, Route 38, Mount Holly.
Hope you're enjoying the action. I'm Tom Mees. They're enjoying the action at the Auden in Buffalo tonight. That's because the home team is winning, and it could be a coming-out party for the highly touted rookie Pierre Turgeon of the Buffalo Sabres. Turgeon now has scored to put Buffalo up 4-2 in this hockey game midway through the third period. This is Scott Arniel over to Pierre Turgeon, unguarded in the slot. He makes no mistake through the 5-hole. Buffalo leads it 4-2. Turgeon with 2 goals in this game tonight. Meanwhile, at the Spectrum in Philadelphia, the Flyers have made a goaltender change. Ron Hextall out of there. Mark LaForest in there. Hextall just not sharp tonight. Maybe it's spurred on the Flyers because just a few moments ago, Mark Howe, all-star defenseman, puts the backhand by Clint Malarchuk. Midway through the third period now, Washington still in control, but their lead is now 4-2 instead of 4-1. Should the Caps go on and win this game, they'd tie the series, moving back to the Capitol Center in Landover, Maryland, and regain the home ice advantage. Let's take a look at other action now around the National Hockey League from the Winnipeg Arena. The Winnipeg Jets, well, they're out fast against Edmonton again tonight, leading 3-0 until the Oilers finally got on the board in the second period of play. Edmonton knows they're in a series, and this is Yari Curry from the slot. The original save is made, and the rebound is put in by Craig Simpson of the Oilers. So Simpson from Curry early on in the second period. The Winnipeg lead is 3-1. Remember, Edmonton was down 3-0 last night in Game 3, came back to tie only to eventually lose the game. This is a rough and tumble series, and this one could go a lot farther than people would think. Our score after one period from the Meadowlands in New Jersey, the Devils lead the New York Islanders 2-0. The road to the Cup rolls on at ESPN right after these commercial words.
Do you know how to work a golf ball? How to slice around a tree or poke on a dog leg left? Hi, I'm Tom Watson. I recently wrote an article about that in Golf Digest. It's a magazine that completely covers the game. Shots, strategy, equipment, people. It's all in Golf Digest. You're looking for new clubs? A better ball? Golf Digest delivers. Top playing professionals Nicklaus, Kite, Langer, teachers like Tosky and Flick take you shot for shot from the driver through the putter. If anything can take strokes off your handicap, it's Golf Digest. It also tells you about the personalities that make the game so great. Sound good? Now here's how you can get Golf Digest.
Call toll-free 800-622-3488 for a year of Golf Digest, only $12.77, 46% off the newsstand price, and you'll receive as a bonus tips from the tour, free. Call 800-622-3488 now.
Be a winner. Read Golf Digest.
Ladies and gentlemen, the president of the National Hockey League, Mr. John A. Ziegler, Jr.
The National Hockey League, along with other professional sports organizations, supports the President's Sports Drug Education Program. The goal of this program is simple. It is to keep our young people free from drugs. I'd like you to listen to a lady who really cares. She's given a great deal of her time to this program, Nancy Reagan.
Thank you, John. You're right. I do care. and I'm greatly concerned about the epidemic use of drugs by school-age children. Sports figures, especially hockey players who are so respected by our young people, can help lead the way in our fight to defeat drug abuse. I'm so pleased that NHL players like Wayne Gretzky, Mike Bossy.
Another edition of the Bud Light Scoreboard. 8 games, of course, tonight on the schedule of the National Hockey League. This is night 4 on the road to the Stanley Cup. And at least 7 of these series will go into night 5 on Tuesday. In the third period of Buffalo, Sabres leading Boston 4-2, looking to tie that series up. Washington's lead over Philly now is 4-3. Brian Propp has just scored. It's noisy again in the Spectrum. The Flyers are coming on. Washington, though, still with the advantage. Detroit, 8. Toronto, nothing. The Maple Leafs just didn't show up tonight. They have to go to Detroit in the 5th game on Tuesday night. This could be Toronto's last game at home of the season. Montreal and Hartford. Well, Montreal, which was trailing 3-2 a minute into the third period, has come back to tie and then go ahead. A goal by Bobby Smith and another one by Ryan Walter. And if the Canadiens win this game, of course, they will win the series, and they'll get to rest up to play the winner of Boston and Buffalo. The go-ahead goal came off the stick of Ryan Walter. Now watch, he's actually behind the red line and banks it in off Hartford goaltender Mike Liut, who looks upset with himself, and maybe he should be. Liut let in a soft goal early in this game. He is the Whalers' #1 goaltender. They have to go with him, they feel, but if Hartford loses the game, they get out the golf clubs tomorrow. We just saw Craig Simpson's goal to draw Edmonton back in this game with Winnipeg, with the Jets on home ice leading it by 2. St. Louis and Chicago now in the dressing room after the first period at Chicago Stadium, and the Blackhawks on a go-ahead goal by Everett Santa-Pass lead it 2-1. And a little bit later on tonight, the LA Kings trying to even up their series with the Calgary Flames. They had a sellout last night at the LA Forum. Another sellout expected tonight. We'll have some highlights from that game later on in our telecast. From New Jersey, though, the score after 1. The Devils 2 and the Islanders nothing.
Now jumping from the United States, Bud Light Jones, Bud McKenzie.
His name is Bud McKenzie. Yeah. Jumping for the USA. The Olympic gold inside.
Devils Islanders in a moment. First of all, 2 minutes left in the third period in Philadelphia. Flyers making a comeback. They're now within 1 goal of the Washington Capitals. That third Philadelphia goal comes off the stick of Brian Propp, who wears number 26. This is Rick Tocchet with the puck. Backhand pass in front, and Propp sweeps it under. Clint Malarchuk, who's looked kind of shaky the last 2 Philadelphia goals. Washington 4, Philly 3. 2 minutes to go in the game. Let's check in live at the Spectrum in Philadelphia, where Mike Fornes and Al Koken are standing by to give us an update on ESPN.
We welcome our ESPN viewers to our DC-20 hockey telecast tonight. The Capitals have a 4-3 lead over the Flyers. The Washington Capitals led 2-1 after the first period, but took a 4-1 lead on goals by Mike Gartner and Dale Hunter here in the third period. But Mark Howe and Brian Propp have come back to bring Philadelphia to within 1. With all that goal scoring, the Capitals knocked Ron Hextall out of the nets, and Mark LaForest is now the Philadelphia goaltender. Since he has come on, the Flyers have come on. Back in the Philadelphia zone, Kelly Miller pulls alongside, and now the puck frozen, and play is called.
2:01 left to go in this hockey game. Great shift then by that Gould, Miller, Gustafson unit. They put the pressure, got the puck out of the zone, and forced the Flyers to take more time off that clock, scrambling around after them.
The Capitals have Ridley out there now with Sundstrom. It will be Murphy on the blue line with Grant Ledyard, and Mike Gartner comes back for a new stick to the Washington bench. He'll occupy the right wing slot. The Flyers have Eklund ready to work the draw against Ridley. Propp is on for Philadelphia with Tocchet, Howe, and Samuelson. Face-off controlled to the backboard by the Flyers, but Mike Ridley's right there. Now Samuelson takes over in the corner. Propp to Eklund. Works to center ice. He's across the blue line. Eklund's right wing pass goes too far for Tocchet, and now Murphy's back to take it. He flips it up off the glass and into the seats.
All right, that's it in Philadelphia for now. We'll keep you posted. The second period is underway at the Meadowlands in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Just underway. Once again, Mike Emmerich and Bill Clement.
Devils in the attack zone of the Islanders again. So nothing much has changed from the first period into the first 38 seconds here of the second.
But I think I see a change in the Kirk Muller line from the first 3 games of this series. They have been on the attack far more frequently tonight than they have in the first 3 games. They just had a big scoring chance on Kelly Rudy. Look at Kirk Muller. He'll center it out to Pat Verbeek. Wow, the snake is wrapped around Verbeek's leg and is biting him in the ankle once again. He hit Kelly Rudy. Rudy made a nice save. Rudy's been tested. The shots in the first period were only 6 aside, but I don't think that really tells the story of how much action there was around Rudy and around Sean Burke at the other end, Mike.
Bruce Driver nailed the post once. In addition, the Devils had 6 other shots on goal.
Right. Those posts don't count as shots on goal.
Maley with the face-off, though it is won by the Islanders, and Dennis Potvin controls. Potvin passes, then is shouldered by Maley as Trottier angles for Makela. Around it swirls, and Trottier will take his own toss to Makela. Makela roughed up some by Curvers, still able to control. Makela stepping away. Good tenacious work by Mikko Makela. Makela just drops one off to Trottier. Centers one, and Henry was there, but he was checked by Sullivan. Here's Perry Anderson up the wing. Sized up by Potvin and Diddick, and they cancel him. Diddick reaches it, and a little thrust over to Makela, then back across to Potvin. Blocked back by Maley to Anderson. Took the hit after dropping it in. Shift change on for New Jersey. They bring out the John McClain line. Johnson and Sundstrom are the other 2 forwards. Craig Wolanin back to get this. Matched up with Ken Danico on defense. It is Morrow working the back line for the Islanders, and he just cleared that one in. Ken Leiter is his partner. Dalgarno and Sutter were in shouldering. Lauer, the other winger up front for the Islanders. Dalgarno, a shot blocked down. Rebound kicked over to McClain. Leiter for the Islanders. His team trailing in the game 2-0. His Sutter's shot is answered by Burke. Danico clears. Puck held by Leiter. Shot snared by Burke. Wonderful save. Stops the clock. 2-0 Devils.
Excuse me, I see a gray hair there.
I do. I have a couple.
Let me see.
But you know something? The first time I ever went to Paris and I walked down the Champs-Elysees, I had the weirdest feeling that I'd been there before.
But you took sides in a political conversation, though.
A guy named Steve, his life wasn't going well. He put an extra E in his name, S-T-E-E-V-E, Steve.
Because in Florida, we used to go deer hunting. There hadn't been a deer in Florida in 100 years.
Levi's 100% cotton Dockers. If you're not wearing Dockers, you're just wearing pants.
It's a yes. It's a definite okay.
In Hartford, the Whalers may go down tonight, but they're not going down easy. Trailing 4-3 in the second half of the 3rd period, the Whalers' inspirational leader does it again. Number 11, Kevin Dineen, uses Rick Green as a screen and scores against Patrick Waugh. It is Hartford 4, Montreal 4. Getting late now in the 3rd period. Back to New Jersey, Mike.
If Hartford does not win tonight, that's it for the Whalers, as Montreal has won the first 3 in that series by 4-3, 7-3, and 4-3 scores. Offside called against New Jersey. The puck must be preceding every member of the attacking team across that blue line. Get a chance to see Doug Brown. We mentioned him earlier, the shorthanded specialist, but also a valuable member of Jim Schoenfeld's checking line that's out there now. Conacher and Loisel are the other wingers. Puck glassed back out by Rudy, picked up by Randy Wood. Out of Yale. Wood starts in, but the play was offside.
Road to the Cup is being brought to you by Levi's Dockers. If you're not wearing Dockers, you're just wearing pants. By Dry Idea for Men, the most powerful wetness protection available to men. And by Castrol, the motor oil engineered for today's smaller cars. Around the NHL tonight, Boston has just tied up Buffalo on a goal by Cam Neely. Boston, Buffalo, and now we understand Buffalo has gone back on top 5-4 at the odd. Washington and Philadelphia, the Flyer net is empty. The Flyers trail Washington still by 1 goal. Detroit has beaten Toronto 8-0, and we understand the Flyers have just tied up Washington in the last seconds of play in regulation. Montreal-Hartford tied at 4-4. That game in the 3rd period. Edmonton and Winnipeg, it's still 3-1 Winnipeg. Chicago leads St. Louis 2-1. That's at the first intermission, and I believe it was Shell Samuelson with the tying goal for Philadelphia, Mike, in the last 30 seconds of regulation time.
Okay, Tom, Big Shell got the winner in last night's game at the Spectrum, and the roof blew off that place when they opened it in '67, and the big Swedish defenseman may have caused it to lift a little bit just now. We don't know yet whether they are going into overtime. It is still late in the third period, as best we know it. And Washington and Philadelphia are tied. Wolanin stepped into Lauer. Lauer pivots back with 17 minutes and 15 seconds to go here in the second period. In case you're just joining us, the Devils ahead of the Islanders 2-0. They lead the series 2-1. Tom Mees is back at our studios in Bristol, Connecticut, bringing you up to date on all the other games. With Bill Clement, this is Mike Emmerich. Danico goes in, locks up with Lauer. Out of the scrum comes Lauer. Has a man breaking Potvin, but Lauer is just chased all around by Ken Danico. Dalgarno to Sutter. Tries to shake away from Wolanin. Taken down. Power play coming up to the Islanders. Let's go back to Tom Mees.
All right, Mike Emmerich, we told you about the Capitals and Flyers. Here it is. Last seconds of play. The net is empty for Philadelphia. They have 6 attackers. Dave Poulin's shot is stopped, but it comes loose. And Kjell Samuelsson, you see him there, number 28, lurking. Nobody checks him. He's one of the biggest men in the league. He pokes it in. So the game is tied at 4 seconds left in regulation time. Let's go live to the Spectrum. Mike Bournes and Al Koken.
Ridley on the doorstep. He's undercut, but the puck has been stopped by LaForest.
There is the first chance the Capitals really have had on Mark LaForest, and he comes through. A crazy carom. Ridley standing in front, gets a pretty good shot at it, but Mark LaForest quick to come over. 13 seconds left. LaForest had come out of the net. He scrambled back in now. Watch how this pinball's around. Bouncing puck. Ridley had a clean chance at it, but Mark LaForest is up to it. See how quickly LaForest has scrambled back in. Now this changes direction. Ridley with the sweep, but right there already is LaForest showing terrific movement and anticipation.
Kjell Samuelsson, second goal of the playoffs, assisted by Craven and Poulin at 19:03. The correct time of the goal, 19:03 of the third period. 4-4 lockup. 13 seconds to go in regulation time. Face-off in Philadelphia ice. Howe and Pivonka tie up. Howe works it behind the goal, back to Gary Galley. He sends it in front, and it's directed just wide by Pivonka. 2 seconds left. Along the sideboards they battle. There's the horn. We've finished regulation time, and the Capitals and the Flyers will go now to sudden death overtime to settle this game. Shots on goal in the third period. Washington.
All right, that game is going to overtime. Let's go live to Hartford, where the Whalers are hanging on. They have just scored to take a 5-4 lead. Let's join Dick Urban and Scotty Bowman for the replay.
The play, Dick, and it was a 2-on-1 after Chelios. He was able, Wilson kind of gets turned around here, and Wilson takes the shot. I think it's Gavin that's following up the play. He puts in the rebound, and Chelios had a good chance. Here's the shot from Wilson, another rebound goal, and Gavin following up the play puts the Whalers ahead 5-4.
This place is bedlam.
Well, here's Wilson, Dick. He was able to get on his forehand, and Roy had to go down to make the first save, and it was originally a 2-on-1. That's how Gavin got in close.
Scotty, you talked about the Canadiens' defense not moving up, but Robinson was deep on the play, and they got caught with just Green back.
Yeah, well, what happened, I think, Dick, it was...
All right, so the Whalers lead it late in the third, trying to avoid elimination. Let's go back now to the Meadowlands. Mike Emmerich and Bill Clement, where the Islanders are on the power play, Mike.
Inspired kill-off so far by New Jersey, but Janssen fires one that is blocked high in the air by Burke. 15 seconds to go, power play. Diving attempt by Sundstrom, but the Islanders still have it. It is Makala, gives to Trottier. Has Janssen and feeds to him. Then Trottier. Penalty time is up. Trottier finesses to Makala. Feeds Trottier. LaFontaine at the front wants it, gets it, shot tipped wide.
Got it too late, a quarter second too late.
Leiter gives it up to Belichick. They're standing and waving the handkerchiefs. Their team has killed off the Miner. Leiter to Lauer, but to Curvers. And so it is Kirk Muller back to get it for New Jersey. Connects on with Broughton. Wants to get it to Verbeek, but Sutter is there. Interesting, we had talked about the matchup and how well Sutter did in the first 2 games. Well, he has wound up against this unit in games 3 and 4 quite a bit. Puck held to the side by Burke.
You know, we talked at the outset of this series about who is going to be a hero in the playoffs for whatever team. Well, number 5, Tom Curvers for the Devils, has played outstanding hockey. I think some of the best hockey of his career. In so many one-on-one situations, he has won those confrontations, and that's the kind of effort that you have to have all the way up and down your bench to get by a hockey team and to advance. This is a tight series, and it's only fitting that the Patrick division be the tightest series because they were the division that ended up with the tightest situation during the regular season. Look at that attack zone time, but Thomas Johnsson had the puck at least a half a dozen times back on the blue line and just wouldn't let it go. So they only ended up with 1 shot on goal.
Muller for the faceoff, tying up with Basson, and coming by to scoop it up is Curvers. Gave it up to Diddick, and so Burke had to punch that one away. Driver wraps it along for the lift back out by Pat Verbeek. It's sent across for Muller, but the play was offside. 12 shots Islanders, 7 shots Devils. Devils leading in this game 2-0 with 13:42 to go in the second period. We noticed the sea of white in Winnipeg tonight. They're wearing the white there. Here at the Meadowlands, they're waving it. But, of course, it's different. I don't know if there's a Game 6, what they'll come back with. Last night it was Shakers that were green and white and red and white. Driver flips. Dennis Potvin is waiting. Forechecker is Verbeek. Muller taps over to Curvers. Muller regains from Curvers. Checked by Diddick. Nearly freight trained by Basson, but it's Wood starting it back for the Islanders. Bruce Driver goes back. It is flung away by Burke, but taken by Diddick. Couldn't control. Reaching was Curvers. Booming in with Crom is Muller. Yeah, they pay the price to work those boards,
especially in the neutral zone. This is the Muller line. The Islanders simply beat them to death in the neutral zone, especially this line that's out here now. Basson, Crom, and Randy Wood. Verbeek said the other day, I don't think the guys that are playing against us even want to score. All they're trying to do is keep us off the scoreboard.
Johnsson. Save made by Burke. Another shot is saved. Here's Basson. Feeds to Johnsson. Steps by one. Flipped one in front that was tipped on goal, and Burke has it. The deflection by Crom. 12 minutes, 40 seconds to go in the second. Devils 2. Islanders the same as last night.
There are 3 nevers in sportscasting. Never wear your best suit to a locker room celebration. Never yell it's out of here before it's out of here. And even if you have to say Biancalana de Benicas de Balboni, never, never let them see you sweat.
Introducing Dry Idea for Men, the most powerful wetness protection available to man.
Sweat belongs on the ball field, not in the broadcast booth.
New Dry Idea for Men in sports scent and classic scent. Never let them see you sweat.
In Edmonton, the Oilers have come back from a 3-0 deficit again. 19:22 of the second period. Charlie Huddy from Messier and Gretzky fires one by Daniel Berthiaume. We're tied at 3 in Winnipeg after 2 periods. And just moments ago at the odd in Buffalo, Sabres leading 5-4. But here come the Never Say Die Bruins and Cam Neely, the All-Star. His second goal of the third period ties it up at 5 late in the third period at the odd. What a game that is. What a game we have, Mike.
Boy, are we ever fortunate. Not only can we dial around, thanks to Tom Meese and everyone back in Bristol, and see these, but we're getting such great games. Here, it's 2-0 in favor of New Jersey. The puck chopped back around by Doug Sullivan. Conroy trying to get back for it was McLean, but Conroy there for the icing touch-up. The puck over the center red line and then the end line, but while we're preoccupied with that, there's a little more. McLean and Conroy, but now McLean goes for a skate to bring the temperature down a little. Remember, the puck sent from the defensive side of center and over both of those lines, the center and the end one, and touched up by the defense. That's when you have an icing call. For those of you who might be seeing your first game, Let's return now to Tom Mees.
All right, Mike, and let's go live to the Aud in Buffalo. Time running down on both the Sabres and Bruins in regulation time, tied at 5. Ted Darling and Mike Robitaille are there to cover the festivity.
The arms went up for a moment. A couple of the Sabres threw their arms up, but nothing really happened. Lemlin was right there to hold onto the puck before it went over the goal line. And look at Kerry Fraser. He's just leaning up against the post. Nobody could have a better look at that puck than Kerry Fraser.
And we'd like to welcome ESPN to our broadcast here. As you look at this replay, there's 42 seconds remaining here in this third period. The game is tied at 5-5. And there's Christian Ruutu. Thought perhaps the puck had gone over the line, but look, there's Kerry Fraser, the referee, right on the goal line.
You know, and surprisingly, look back at that play, and who coughed the puck up? It was Raymond Bourque again. It's unusual to see Bourque cough the puck up in such a deadly position.
At one point in this third period, the Sabres had taken a 4-2 lead. The Bruins came back to tie it at 4-4. Then Buffalo went ahead 5-4 on a goal by Housley, and Neely just a few moments ago tied it up with Neely's second goal of the game and second goal of the playoffs. Face-off of the Bruins zone. Ruutu trying to win the draw. Now Kluzak, Ruutu hit after it. He's trying to set it up. Here's Lindsman there, Ruutu and Kluzak. Here's Lindsman behind the net. 30 seconds left. The long pass gloved down by Ramsey. He will send it back into the Boston zone. 25 seconds left in regulation. Kluzak now giving it to Bourque. The long pass tipped by Lindsman into the Buffalo zone. Ramsey hustles back after it. And the Bruins are called for icing.
And that's
with 14 seconds now left in regulation.
And that's twice in the last minute that the Boston Bruins have been called for icing. 14 seconds remaining, a very mild game compared to the first three encounters. It was war out there for the first three games, and there's Cam Neely, their big workhorse. He slipped one into the far corner. Tonight, what an exceptional goal, and what a play from his centerman, Janney, who put it right on his stick, and he found the far corner.
34 shots for Buffalo and 30 for the Bruins. Face-off will be into the right now of Lemelin. 14 seconds left in regulation.
How much gas can Kluzak and Bourque have left?
Oh, they've been playing, I'll tell you, well over 40 minutes. They've had to here in this game tonight. Now Ruutu against Lindsman.
It's gut check time right now.
Down the draw, taken by Bourque. Bourque goes in behind the net. 9 seconds left. It's cleared into the Buffalo zone. Ramsey hustling back after it. And with 2 seconds now left on the clock, again the Bruins are called for icing. And the face-off will come back in. Now the Sabres will try to set this up, and they hope that Ruutu will be able to perhaps win the draw as Darren Pupa makes his way to the Buffalo bench for an extra skater.
All right, so it appears that the Bruins and Sabres are going into overtime. We'll keep you posted, and we'll be going back to the Devils and the Islanders as the road to the Cup continues.
Today is on for New Jersey. Fans are reacting, and you saw a close-up of Potvin as he really worked over Pat Verbeek, and the fans, of course, thought that it should have been a 5-on-3 New Jersey. Now with this is Driver moving on to Kerbers with 1:20 to go on the power play. 2-0 New Jersey ahead. 10:50 left in the second period. Broughton pivots. Scoops it along to Muller. McLean at the front. Kerbers with it at the back. Muller. Broughton. Driver. Save! Driver again. Stoppage of play. Didick ready to go with John McLean, and a crowd gathers.
Boy, that play that the Devils have worked tonight is the play that they couldn't get on track in the first three games. That one from in deep. Pretty successful. They just haven't scored on it.
10:30 to go in the second. 2-0 Devils.
Around the Stanley Cup playoffs tonight. Boston, Buffalo going to overtime. Washington, Philadelphia going to overtime. Detroit 8-0 winners over Toronto. Hartford's going to stay alive. They lead Montreal 7-4 in the third. Edmonton and Winnipeg 3-3 after 2. Chicago 2, St. Louis 1 in the second. Later on, Calgary and Los Angeles. Let's go back to Mike Emmerich and Bill Clement.
Well, for their part in the skirmish, Tom, McLean got a high-sticking minor. Didick a roughing minor. So it remains a 5-on-4 power play. No change in the number of men on the ice for either team. 58 seconds of power play time to go for New Jersey. The Devils on the night are 2 out of 3 on the power play. But now shorthanded, Mikko Makala couldn't get by Driver. Driver a moment ago hammered his stick on the ice and stared straight to the roof as he had a good chance in front, but saw Rudy save it, as Rudy does this time on Kurt Muller from the opposite side.
Somebody was yelling at Kelly Rudy there, and I thought he said, "Okay, Kelly," which meant leave it there, and then I heard play it. So there might have been kind of a stutter command there. One of the defensemen going back, Conroyd's out there. But Rudy at first was going to play it. And then I heard, even from up here with some of our effects mics that pick up what's happening on the ice, I heard, "Okay, Kelly," and then play it. But it was a little too late to change the command, and Kelly Rudy just about got crossed up. He should have played it around. He didn't have enough time to leave it there.
Driver and McLean had the goals in the game tonight, both in the first period and both on the power plays. Ron Hogarth will take off Broughton and Brian Trottier. And both of them head off shaking their hands, and now a conversation along the glass near the penalty box, and everyone gathers around just to be a part of it.
The penalties, 2 minutes each for cross-checking.
Here's what the Devils did after the first period, and to date it has held up. 2 for 3. Their attack zone time was excellent. Their shots only 2. Remember, Driver hit the post on 1. That is not registering there. Quality shots 1, point shots 1, but the big number there, 2 for 3. And those 2 goals are holding up right now.
10 minors on the night for the Islanders, 8 for New Jersey, 2 majors apiece. 52 minor penalties, and we are almost halfway through game 4. 52 to the Islanders and 49 to New Jersey. Sullivan and Kerr exchanging sticks just briefly. Conroy drills. Danico keeps. Mark Johnson. Turning for it was Sullivan. Moving in is Danico. Brushes it to Sullivan. Pass cut off by Conroy. Danico rolls it along to Mark Johnson. Johnson has a man creeping on the other side, Wolanin, but gives on the same side for Danico. Flex back toward Sullivan. Then to Mark Johnson. Points it to Danico. Hammers one that is knocked down. Backhanded by Sundstrom, and a great save made by Kelly Rudy. Johnson tries to fight it back, but Alan Kerr's deflection forces the Devils back. Johnson along to Craig Wolanin. Up the wing to Sundstrom, with Johnson breaking and getting a piece of that shot was Rudy. Basson starts back out for the Islanders. The teams are now at full strength. Out to get this one is Burke, and swats it away from Sutter. Sutter, the dogged captain of this team, turns it along to Basson. Then back to Potvin. Fires one, and that knockdown. Centering pass, and Sutter just wrestled off by Ken Danico. Sutter gets up to play once more. Moves to the front. Taken down, and Wolanin clears. This will be an icing call as Janssen is back. Clock stopped with 8:51 to go in the second period. It's still the Devils 2 and the Islanders no score.
To play another day, Mike and Bill, they beat the Montreal Canadiens 7-5, so the Canadiens don't get the sweep they hoped for. Instead, they'll be hopping on a plane back to the Forum for Game 5 Tuesday night. Still in command. Let's go back to Mike and Bill in New Jersey.
Yielding 7 goals to Hartford is not the mark of the defensively oriented team that wins the regular season Jennings Trophy for the best defensive average. Getting caught on a 2-on-1 for the tiebreaker either.
Sitting here watching that, saying, how does that happen when you have a 1-goal lead and you're a team that's supposed to be that good defensively, especially in the playoffs?
Here we have a face-off near Kelly Rudy, who has made sure that the Devils have not gotten an even bigger break in this game than they have. It's 2-0, and we see attack zone time of over half of that power play.
But only 1 shot. Pretty successful kill by the Devils, or at least by the Islanders.
It is Anderson rolling to Velishek. Wide with the shot. Lauer is there. Chops it ahead, and Sutter is in stride. Looks for a breaking winger. Dalgarno is moving. Got it to him. Oh, and he couldn't get a good shot He dumped it, and that partly because perhaps Brown was on him so tightly. Now it's Anderson moving back out with Brown, picks up Cirella, and skies one to the glass. Lauer checks with Brown. Anderson trying to get away from Thomas Janssen. Still muscling it around. Burley Perry Anderson back to the corner where Lauer takes Brown away. Brown rushes back in and is boomed to the boards by Lauer and then flipped down. Linesmen hurry right in as we again have play stopped here. Action going all around the NHL tonight. The man who checks it for us is Tom Mees.
All right, Mike Emmerich, and they are cheering at the Spectrum in Philadelphia. 1:18 into overtime. Clint Malarchuk clears the puck from the back of his own net, but he doesn't get it out of the zone, and Murray Craven gets a backhand and scores at 1:18 of overtime. Philadelphia trailed 4-1 in the third period, wins it 5-4 in overtime. They lead the series 3-1. Going back to the Cap Center Tuesday night, and the crowd at the Spectrum, well, they're just a tad happy, as you might imagine. That one guy looks like our producer, Jim Roller. He's in our truck, isn't he, Mike?
Yeah, he does.
I was thinking the same thing.
You know, we haven't heard from Jim lately. Not in the last few minutes.
Oh, he's just told us he is there.
Okay, well, then we'll buy it. We're not sure if maybe he's been beamed up elsewhere. Speaking of which, we have Captain Kirk out right now. Kirk Muller of the New Jersey Devils. Near this one, driver's pass goes through Mealy. Turning with this is King, and then working on him is Pat Verbeek. To his side, continuing. They continue to jam away, just muscling along the boards. King is there, and Verbeek. Verbeek able to step away with it. Played it back to Driver. Wheeled it off. Flicked away by Rudy. Verbeek can't center. You may have overheard one of the Islanders yell, "Ice it," as there's been quite a bit of pressure and they want to make a line change. It's the Devils who are able to change right now as it's dumped in, and the Islanders outlet to King, but across two lines. That'll get the stoppage of play they wanted, and LaFontaine's line will come off.
I think it was Ken Morrow that was yelling for the icing to try and get a change, and it really is a decided disadvantage depending on which period you're playing in and how close your bench is to your defensive zone. That's where you end up getting in trouble if you get tired. It's always easy to get out of the offensive zone. The team has to go a couple hundred feet to get back to your end. But when you get tired in the defensive zone and your bench happens to be the far one instead of the close one, it can seem like an eternity.
The Islanders' offense has contributed. Johnson on the face-off for New Jersey. In with Brian Trottier, and Randy Mitten animatedly lecturing Dale Henry of the Islanders about face-off encroachment. Dennis Potvin for the Islanders. One tipped along for Makela, but he's outreached by Danico. Sundstrom back for McLean, punched away from him nicely by Potvin. Over to Makela. Swings it. Trottier in, set up for Henry for a quick shot that was blocked. Didick a shot, and that turned aside by Danico. Doesn't know where it is, and it is brushed back away by McLean. Kelly Rudy comes out, has Sundstrom swooping nearby, so it's handed over to Makela. Didick connects with Dennis Potvin. Then back ahead, and up the wing it is taken by Makela. Tipped away by Danico. Play made further, and Potvin can't get in, so it's thrown back by Trottier, and another shift change for the Islanders. It's rolled around to Sundstrom. The line out now for New Jersey has been their most productive of this series. Starting back in is Wood. Loses to McLean. Basson can't handle, and so it's Wolanin. And Janssen will go back. Stick around between periods for the Diet Coke scoreboard and action from all the playoff games around the NHL. Basson in, and had it tipped away by Loisel. We get a stoppage of play as holding on to it is Burke. The point men are staying out of this so they can keep the face-off deep in the New Jersey zone. So right now 3 Islanders and 5 Devils are contesting. 5:31 to go in the second. Devils 2, Islanders nothing.
Hawks lead it 3-2. Back to New Jersey, Mike and Bill.
Well, as has happened so frequently in this series, we're getting a conference regarding penalties. Majors haven't been the big thing. There have only been 8 coincidental major penalties for fighting. Here is Basson being impeded by Loisel, and then there was a skirmish after.
Right there, he took a shot at Sean Burke going by him with his stick. And it was in that corner where Basson is getting up that tempers flared for the 4,124th time in this National Hockey League playoff year.
I know there's some statistical stuff, and we don't want to barrel this in at you with numbers, but there's a tendency in the first 4 games for the 3rd game of almost all series to have the most temperament, and then the first is second. The 4th game tends to be the lightest one, and that, I would suppose, is explained by the fact that when you get to game 4, one team is down. Either it's 2-1 or 3-0 by that point. And you just can't take chances with extra penalties, especially the unnecessary ones that come from such challenges.
I remember throughout last year's playoffs that Terry Simpson of the Islanders started referring to his team as, well, he mentioned it once, and then I think I referred to it game after game as to his team being like a cork. You know, you can submerge it for so long, but somehow it finds a way to bob to the surface, and that's what we used talking about the Islanders against the Capitals, and then they scared the Flyers to death in their series. Well, 5:31 to go in the second period. They trail the Devils by 2, and I mentioned early in this game that I think the team that is ahead after 2 periods in this hockey game will go on to win the series. First of all, I think the team that's leading will go on to win this hockey game. Subsequently, I think that the team that wins this hockey game will win the series.
Well, here's Johnson with a backhander, held off by Burke, and he'll hang on, and Sorella wants to go after LaFontaine for the attempt with his stick on Burke, and a crowd gathers again, except, as before, the 2-point man.
Burke had caught the puck, and LaFontaine gave him a swat under the hand, on the back of his hand, which is really the most vulnerable area of a goaltender's glove. Obviously, more padding is on the side that he catches with. That's what Joe Sorella was reacting to. Johnson comes in and takes a backhand shot. There it is. See how LaFontaine just came up and swatted him underneath? Burke had his hand in kind of a basket fashion with his knuckles facing down, and that's where he got wrapped.
54 total minutes on the night. These two teams are 3rd and 5th of the 16 teams competing in terms of the penalties that they've come up with. But there was just a case of LaFontaine, as Bill mentioned earlier, a hungry player tonight, driving hard, but also committing a no-no as one is directed to the seats. They mess around that goaltender, especially a savior as Burke has been in the last month for New Jersey.
You bet.
You'll hear about it.
You bet. That shot went into the stands because it hit that man, John McLean. And when you have forwards, and I've seen so many of the Devils forwards blocking shots, you can tell how much this hockey team wants it. That's not to say that the Islanders do not. Boy, I'll tell you, the Devils have been playing inspired hockey in front of their guy, Sean Burke. And there are intangibles that surround different goalies. Even if one stops the puck as well as the other one, sometimes hockey teams just play better for certain goalies than other goalies.
That's one of the things I think baseball fans always notice. A team sometimes gets more runs for one pitcher than another one. Now they work from this face-off. It is Joe Sorella flopping one back out, and it's chipped in deep. To get it is Muller. Broughton is at the front, but has to go to the back because checkers were catching up, and that was Henry who got there first. Puck swung across, and Belichick is there to tap it in deep. Muller wedged. Puck taken by Kerr. Kerr pivots away, but it's flicked from him, and so it's Kirk Muller for New Jersey. Spins one in front, and had Johnson not had Broughton, there would have been a great Devils chance. Muller striding toward that one with 4:40 to go in this second period. Devils ahead in the game 2-0. Muller with a backhander, and Rudy catches and holds on. Everything results in a shove at that goal mouth. This time Johnson and Verbeek. Interesting, 3 years ago, when Rudy and Smith were goaltending together, it was Kelly Rudy who seemed to not get the goaltending support, or at least the offensive support from his team, and Billy Smith was getting the 4 and 5 goals to work with in a game. So that shows you how things can turn. Arkansas at Oklahoma State in college baseball tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Yeah, you see the wide shot of the arena here. Every seat is full. And whether there's some Islander fans here have just chosen not to wave them, everybody was handed one of those handkerchiefs with the Devils logo on it tonight. They've been waved frequently. As you see, the veteran linesman Ray Scapanello, over 1,000 games in the regular season, and one of the linesmen who has had the most games in the playoffs. And while he skates away, we'll stride away back to Bristol. Here's Tom.
All right, Mike, at Chicago Stadium, the St. Louis Blues have come back to tie in a blast here by Doug Gilmour. You're seeing what Darren Pang sees, except maybe he was screened on this goal. Gilmour's second to the playoffs. St. Louis 3, Chicago 3, second period in the Windy City. Let's go back to New Jersey.
12 shots this period by the Islanders, 8 for New Jersey, but still no Islander goals. Devils ahead in the game 2-0. Under 4.5 minutes to play in the second period as the puck lodged once more. Gotta like the Sutters. Man, oh man, do I like those players.
Well, especially this one in this series. Brent Sutter has not done anything offensively in this series, but he has come so close, especially in the last 6 minutes of this game. And he's done an outstanding job on one of the top lines in the National Hockey League today, the Kirk Muller, Pat Verbeek, and Aaron Broughton line. Tower of power, Brent Sutter.
All of the Sutters hailing from the little town of Viking in Alberta.
And he won't be talking to his brother Ron until one of them gets knocked out of the playoffs. That's the pact that they make. They will not communicate back and forth. They go on a vacation at least. Their telephone wires are cut to one another. Self-imposed. They just don't feel that it's in their best interest to talk to one another during the playoffs.
Diddick shot tipped to the glass. Pivoting is Danico. Knocked from him, and Dalgarno goes to get it. Wolanin steps into him, but it is Maley. Checked from behind by Lauer. Danico trying to poke it along. Guy with it momentarily was Maley. Now Wolanin will drill it back around. And so the Islanders must chase again. This will be an icing call as Potvin arrives, stopping the clock with 3:52 to go in the second. And yeah, I
guess. Anderson was 50 feet behind the play, and he went and dug and dug and dug, and he knew it was going to be an icing call. And I think the question in Perry Anderson's mind was, can I hit him soon enough after he touches it not to end up in trouble? All the way. Look at Anderson on the right, bottom right of your screen. Now he was way behind. He gets behind around Diddick. Didn't do much to help out Dennis Potvin, and boom! Watch Potvin swing and hit the glass. Potvin wasn't trying to hit him. I think that was more frustration.
I've seen careers ended that way, only on back hits rather than forward ones. Potvin at least had the advantage for a split second of seeing him come.
Were you let up? You think that the play is going to be whistled down immediately, and that kind of hit really is not the norm. It is the exception to the rule. But Dennis Potvin ended up for even swatting the glass, and he ended up getting a 2-minute penalty, so they are coincidental to Anderson and Potvin.
Joe Watson comes to mind when he was playing with Colorado, and Bob Daly, the last game he played in the NHL, was just going back for an icing touch-up and was hit from behind. Boston and Buffalo are in overtime tonight. We'll keep you updated on that one. Philadelphia has won in overtime, got 3 goals in the third period, including one by Shel Samuelson in the last half minute to force the overtime, and then one. Makela, hard drive, and a chest save by Burke. Another drive, and that hit someone in front. And it's cleared. Here the teams are at even strength. 3 minutes and 28 seconds to go in the second period. Devils ahead 2-0. What have you, Tom Meese?
Well, we have overtime at the Odd in Buffalo. Let's go live now. Ted Darling and Mike Robitaille, the Bruins and the Sabres tied at 5 in OT. Ted?
A shot. Here's Neely coming up with a nice drive, and that one went wide. Bourque at the right point. He kept it in. Ruff trying to clear it. Cleared by Housley. Gives it to Napier. At center. Now to the Boston line. Napier going to the corner. He's taken to the boards by Bourque. Tucker comes up with it, sends it back. Here's Johansson coming up on the play. Keeping it in. Andrechuk sends it right through the goal crease. And Bourque is there to knock it away. Danny comes right back for the Bruins. At center. Now to of the Buffalo line, clearing it in. Johansson, one mistake. Neither team, and it's all over.
I don't think the players don't realize it.
Here's Casper taking over. He'll drop it back in. Ramsey, he swings it over to Johansson at the Buffalo blue line. Brunauer, Foligno's got a break. Here's Foligno going in. Oh, the great sliding save there by one of the Bruins. There's going to be a penalty coming up here. Yes, a tripping ball to the Bruins. Foligno taken down, and the Sabres will go to the power play.
And you can see Foligno argue a little bit for the penalty shot. Let's have a look at it. Here he goes. He's wide open at this point. The rookie Wesley catching up to him. Sweep check, takes the puck right off his stick. No penalty, certainly no penalty shot on that opportunity for Foligno. I'll tell you, it was an outstanding play by Wesley. Did he ever hustle to get back here? And he caught up to Foligno at the last moment, brought him down to the ice. The referee decided to make the call. Now the Sabres move on to the power play. And Talbot is down in the corner, slow getting up. He's not getting up whatsoever, as a matter of fact.
So the Buffalo Sabres will be on the power play in overtime as Kerry Frazier calls the tough penalty. Meanwhile, the New Jersey Devils have gone up 3-0. Mike, fill us in.
Well, it was Doug Brown, Tom, that scored the goal. The line of Boysell, Conacher, and Brown were on the ice. Now it's 3-0. The Muller line continues to be shut down, and the Devils, as like a team that is destined to go someplace, continues to get offense from unexpected sources. This one from the free agent out of Boston College, Doug Brown. He's made it 3-0.
2 minutes and 35 seconds to go. This will be a hard atmosphere to come back in. The heck with the atmosphere. That number 1 in goal means a great deal too at the end to our right. Back on comes Mark Johnson. Couldn't connect with McLean. Wolanin booms Alan Kerr. Johnson canceled by Crom. Meanwhile, Basson and Sundstrom just getting up. Oh yeah, it's still rough. Basson wraps it around for Alan Kerr, but it's Driver. Going to get it is Leiter. Spins it along, but it is chipped further by Curvers. Basson ties up his man, and now it's Crom starting back out. Hit Kerr with the pass. Crom to try again, and guided it back deep. Shift change on for the Islanders. Curvers to get it for New Jersey, along to Driver. Second effort gets it to Muller. And Muller can start ahead. 90 seconds left in this period. Muller trying to go by Johnson in his carry to the boards. Pat Verbeek wants to go back and play as they continue to kick it along. It's Broughton, unable to get to the front because of the checking of LaFontaine. And Pat LaFontaine turns it out to Kerr. They've got a 2-on-1 with Driver back. It is Kerr waiting, fires, he scores! It looked as though he had lost his chance.
Well, he lost his chance to pass over to Pat LaFontaine, but he never did lose his chance to shoot. Bruce Driver was the one-man back facing Alan Kerr. Kerr stopped, Driver stopped, and then Kerr shot. But here's the play that cost him a 2-on-1. Aaron Broughton, number 10 for the Devils, let Pat LaFontaine step around him. That sent him away on the 2-on-1. Here is Kerr with the puck. Driver goes down, and when he gets up, Kerr just times it right between Burke's legs. Tough to defend against. Don't count these Islanders out. They're a proud hockey organization. You know, as soon as Driver left his feet, he really lost the advantage to dig in and push towards Alan Kerr. Alan Kerr had all kinds of time to shoot, and he made no mistake.
The ovation that you heard while the replays were going on was a standing handkerchief waving ovation for Sean Burke, having fashioned one shutout and having gone through almost 5 consecutive periods without the Islanders scoring. Kerr gets his first goal of the playoffs. LaFontaine the assist at 18:49. Randy Velishek pokes it by Delgarno. Loisel outlets along to Brown. Brown with a shot, and that blocked away by Potvin. It's Gerald Diddick starting back out. Sailed it wide of Burke. He corrals for Danico. Doug Sullivan back. Calmly guided away by Rudy. Drilled around the boards by Brown. To take it is Ken Leiter. Sutter moves out with Leiter alongside. Headmans to Henry. Back for Sutter, but just too many Devils in the way. Morrow floats one wide. The horn sounds. The second period ends. The Islanders have finally gotten one through Sean Burke.
But the Devils, in my mind, are still sitting, obviously, in a real nice spot right now. A 2-goal lead. Now will be a time to see if the Devils have the mental toughness. They can't go into a shell just yet. They have 20 minutes left to play. They have to take some of the play into the Islanders' end. They can't play it all in front of Sean Burke. He's not Superman. He's an outstanding goalie. He doesn't have an S on his shirt.
40 minutes have gone by here in this contest tonight. Driver and McLean had first period goals for New Jersey. Brown came up with 1-2. But then Alan Kerr, with 1:11 to go, brought the Islanders back to within 2. It's 3-1. Let's return to Tom Mees.
All right, Mike Emmerich, there is joy at the odd in Buffalo. You're watching the goal here by John Tucker. Hit off Gord Kluzak off the skate of Reggie Lemelin. John Tucker scores for the Sabres, only the second power play overtime goal in Stanley Cup history. Sabres win the game 6-5, tie the series at 2-2. Tucker's 6th playoff goal. Our score after 2, New Jersey 3, the Islanders 1.
No matter how you drive your engine clean with Mobil Super Unleaded Gasoline. Its high-octane detergent formula can unclog fuel injectors and give your car a new injection of power. For top performance, drive your engine clean with Mobil Super Unleaded, high-octane with a plus.
The Peerless washerless faucet you install today will not only be working in the year 2001, it will still be under
541-5744 or in the Cherry Hill area.
Road to the Cup Studios, I'm Tom Mees. Quite a story tonight developing in Winnipeg. First of all, the Edmonton Oilers trailed in this game 4-3-0. They have now come back to take the lead. Officially, the credit for this goal goes to the Oilers' Craig Simpson. However, it looks like Norman Lacombe would get the goal. No matter, Edmonton did get a goal in a goal-mouth scramble, poking the puck by Daniel Berthiaume. I still say it's Norman Lacombe. Whatever, Edmonton leads the game 4-3. Now, yesterday in game number 3, Glenn Anderson was given a match penalty. The National Hockey League still has to review that case. There may be a suspension in Anderson's future, but we don't know that. What we do know is that tonight in Game 4, Glenn Anderson of Edmonton is playing. He has just received a 5-minute major penalty for slashing, so the Winnipeg Jets are on a 5-minute power play, and they need it because they trail Edmonton now at home 4-3 in the third period. Jim Houston and Gary Green are on the case of the Winnipeg Arena. Let's go to the province of Manitoba for an update. Jim?
Here come the Jets in on the power play. We welcome our viewers from the United States. The Stanley Cup champion Oilers were down 3-0. They've come back to take a 4-3 lead, but Glenn Anderson has taken a major for slashing called by the linesman, and the Jets are on a power play here, trying to tie this game up in front of their home fans and tie the series. Mario Marois back for the puck in his own zone. Off the boards for Freddie Olofsson. 3:45 remaining in the penalty to Anderson. 8:30 remaining in the period number 3. Olofsson at center. They haven't been able to get in and set this power play up. And Jim Houston with Gary Green and Roger Nielsen as the Oilers send the Jets back to their own zone again.
The Oilers have really been standing up in the blue line. They're not allowing the Jets to be able to carry that puck in. The Jets are going to have to dump it in and go after it. Send 2 men.
Olofsson. Now to Laurie Boschman up the left wing. Ray Neufeld in the middle, but Boschman lost the puck as he ran into Curry, who's very slow to get up, but he stays on the ice. Mario Marois flips the puck in. Neufeld in after Huddy. Boschman's there as well. They double team Huddy, but can't come up with the puck as Charlie falls on it and stops play with 3 minutes and a second left in Anderson's major penalty.
So the Winnipeg Jets still have an opportunity. The power play maybe for another 3 minutes and 1 second as Glenn Sather looks on anxiously. The Oilers trying to protect the lead. And if they win this game, they'll go back to Edmonton leading the series 3-1. Our score, the Devils 3, the Islanders 1 after 2 in New Jersey. Back in a moment.
I'm Tom Brookshire.
And I'm Greg Luzinski.
Bill, you had a great baseball career, my friend.
Thanks, Tom, but you're no stranger to winning.
Well, I've had a good career, and I met some winning people like you along the way.
Yes, like the winning team here at Wrightson Home and Ford.
You're right, a great selection and a courteous staff backed up by General Manager Joe Glowacki.
And Joe's always here if you need him.
Visit us at Wrightson Home and Ford, Route 73, Mount Laurel, New Jersey.
Attention golfers, dust off your clubs and get a head start on your spring swing as world-famous golf instructor Bob Toski teaches you golf. The 70-minute instructional video will help you improve your game through specialized training in your grip, stance, and swing, as well as techniques in putting, chipping, and driving. The Bob Toski Teaches You Golf video retails for $49.95, but is available exclusively on First Run in April for only $9.95.
For another edition of the Diet Coke Scoreboard on the road to the Cup. We'll be going back to the Byrne Meadowlands Arena in just a moment, where the Devils lead the Islanders 3-1, looking to go up in this Patrick Division semifinal series 3-1. Other scores tonight around the league. In overtime, John Tucker, his 6th of the playoffs, and on the power play, only the 2nd power play goal ever in Stanley Cup overtime. Buffalo wins over Boston 6-5 to tie that series at 2. Philadelphia wins in overtime over Washington. The Flyers lead it 3-1 in the series. Murray Craven got the game winner for Philadelphia. Toronto and Detroit, well, the Maple Leafs were the Maple Laughs. They didn't show up. Detroit wins at 8-0, leads the series 3-1. Hartford stayed alive tonight, beating Montreal 7-5. Goes back to Montreal for Game 5 Tuesday night. Edmonton and Winnipeg, as we just saw, Edmonton clinging to a 4-3 lead, but the Jets are on the power play in the 3rd period. St. Louis and Chicago in the 2nd intermission tied at 4. And getting underway in just moments at the fabulous Forum in L.A., it's the L.A. Kings and the Calgary Flames. Bruce Buchanan was kind enough to give us a few pregame thoughts from Southern California. Here's Bruce and John Garrett.
Thanks, Tom. John Garrett, the Los Angeles Kings came out very aggressively in Game 3. Do you expect them to do the same thing tonight?
I'm sure they're going to try. They set the tone in Game 3. Calgary did it in Game 1 and 2. It'll be interesting to see if they can maintain that pace. They had an emotional game last night, 4 games in 5 nights. They have to try and do it again.
You know, I give the fans here at the Forum a lot of credit. Sellouts are rare, but they had one last night, and it really seemed to urge them on.
Goaltender Glenn Healy commented on that after the game. It was like having a 7th player. If they can get involved early like they did last night, that will help the Kings.
And the Flames may have Mike Bullard back in the lineup tonight, and that should help.
Well, their power play was #1 in the NHL over the season, but here last night they were 0 for 8. Bullard will help.
Kings hoping to even the series here in Los Angeles tonight. Tom, back to you.
All right, Bruce, thank you very much. Another sellout crowd is on hand at the fabulous Forum, and the L.A. Kings, I've been informed, have just gone on the power play just into the game. Our score after 2, the Devils 3, the Islanders 1. The road to the Cup continues in a moment.
Hey, Walter, what's up?
With great taste and just 1 calorie, Diet Coke.
3rd period. Joe Cirella back for the Devils, who have the lead in the game 3-1. But it's Lauer angling one off Burke. Striding with it is Brown. Picks up Conacher, but shoveled into an empty wing. Driver, McLean, and Brown have the goals tonight, in case you're just joining us. Those were the first 3, 2 in the first, 1 in the second. Alan Kerr got the Islanders on the board with just 1 minute and 11 seconds to go in period 2. Brent Sutter hammers. Burke watches the carom. As in to get it is Randy Belichick, the man who played for Lou Lamoriello, current general manager of the Devils when Belichick was a student at Providence College. Released that one out. Makala tries to get back in. Offside is the call.
The Road to the Cup on ESPN is being brought to you by Mercury, the shape you want to be in, and by NYNEX. When it's a question of telecommunications and information systems, the answer is NYNEX. And by the crisp, clean, imported taste of Labatt's Blue. It's blue heaven. Now back to the hockey action. Devils 3, Islanders 1.
Beach ball winds up on the ice. Although they've done this a little bit at Chicago Stadium, I've never seen an outbreak of beach ball volleyball playing, not only during the game, but more likely between periods than we've seen here at the Meadowlands. I guess that's become one of their customs. Here's Burke setting it up for Driver. Through Makala, taken by Broughton. Moving out is Kurt Muller. Drops it for Verbeek in the corner. He goes in with Conroy. Henry hit by Muller, and Muller went down. Janssen starts it ahead, laying it over to Conroy. Conroy flips. That one snared by Burke. Looking for a place to play, and Makela right on him. So because he was being checked, Ron Hogarth blows the whistle.
Not a bad decision. He had a chance when he first caught it, but waited till Makela got close to him. Muller took a fall from Dale Henry's shoulder in the other end, but Muller came around with a stick and caught Henry pretty high. That's something you have to watch out for. And there are a lot of guys that execute that pretty well. They get hit. I think Glenn Anderson of the Oilers is the best. He gets hit, and on the way down, he makes it look like part of his fall. He'll swing around with a stick and clonk somebody on the head.
Well, Tom Mees brought you up to date on a situation involving Anderson tonight. He took a major penalty, and so at a time when the Oilers didn't need it, Winnipeg went on a long power play. Last night, Anderson got a match penalty late in the game that was lost by his team, the Oilers, to Winnipeg. Danico connects to McLean. Tom, of course, will keep you up to date on all of the other NHL action, not only during this period, but at the end of our telecast tonight. Islanders go burrowing in. Puck to LaFontaine, and a shot is saved by Burke. Let's go back to Tom Mees right now.
All right, Stanley Cup action just underway in Los Angeles. With the Kings on the power play, it's Calgary who scores. Håkan Loob shorthanded at 1:29. Calgary 1, Los Angeles nothing. Let's go back to the Meadowlands. Mike Emmerich and Bill Clement.
Devils won their first playoff game at home. 2 nights before, they won their first ever playoff game. Running out of firsts. As LaFontaine is in to take the draw. That one knocked away by Danico. Wolanin lays it along. Tipped out by Sundstrom. Dubbed by Leiter, but corralled by Kerr. Leiter once more. Makela. Man, was he hit up high by Wolanin. Makela guided it wide. Breezing into play is Craig Wolanin, and he flaps one down the ice. Going back to get it is Leiter, and it will be an icing call. I'm not sure if there's that much uncharted water left when we talked about those first, Bill. Look at the goalies.
Here's what our goaltenders have done through 2 periods. Burke has faced 20. Go down to the tough saves. 14 of Burke's saves have been tough saves. Kelly Hrudey has had an excellent hockey game. He has made 9 tough saves. And you can see that Burke likes to move the puck up the ice a little more than Kelly Hrudey does. 9 of his 15 handles were up ice moves, trying to get it out of the zone. 5 of 14 were Hrudey's.
Muller and Basson for the face-off. Islanders out shooting the Devils 21-15. Puck tipped back out. The Devils had only 16 shots in the second game. A retaliation may be what will be called. I noticed Verbeek came around with a stick, and that's what Ron Hogarth saw. So an important part of this game for the Islanders. They're down by 2, but they've got the power play. It's the Devils 3 and the Islanders 1.
It also took a 5-minute major penalty, and they just made themselves their own worst enemies as Yari Curry blasts one into the net. And Edmonton now leads this game 5-3, looking good to go up 3-1 in that series, Mike.
Well, you talk about discipline. First, Anderson puts his team down, and then the Jets go down 2.
Now here, Pat Verbeek has taken a high sticking penalty. I don't know how that happens. Oh, here's a 2-on-1 for the Devils.
Brown and Loisel. Brown's shot is smothered by the defenseman back, Dennis Potvin. Back up come the Islanders. Diddick drops in. Burke sets it up. Belichick wheels it. Trottier in the way, though. Makela lost. Devils clear. So Kelly Hrudey stick handles for Diddick. Brown there to try to smoke him out. 90 seconds to go power play. 3-1 New Jersey ahead. Islanders for the second time are guilty of icing while on the man advantage. That 900 number. You want to express your opinion on whether the NHL playoff system should be changed. Only costs you a couple of quarters. If you think it should be changed, 1-900-720-0030. If you say no, it's fine as it is. 1-900-720-0033.
Here's what the Islanders have done on the power play tonight. 0 for 2. Their attack zone time has been okay. Their shots have been pretty poor. No blood. 0 for 2. That's the big one. Here they are again, though.
Leiter across to Kerr. Checked by Johnson, cleared by Belichick. Islanders empty on the power play, as Bill mentioned, and they're halfway from being empty in this one. Offside called against the Islanders. So they're guilty of an offside as well as an icing while on the advantage. That was an offside pass, so the puck will be faced off at the point it was let go. And that's back near the Islanders line.
Here's the play coming up ice. Right up the middle of the long pass. They've been trying to stretch it out. They have been trying to stretch the Devils all the way out and get them up ice and then make that long pass, but twice it has failed. And that's the kind of pass that tells you that they are looking for a break. They're looking for a quick break and then possibly a breakaway. They're not looking for just possession of the zone. They're looking to catch the Devils asleep. But so far, all they've done is hurt themselves by taking, chances, trying to make a low percentage play and catch the Devils sleeping.
There's one that goes on to Makela. Has Trottier up the wing, fires himself into Burke, who covers. Sean Burke, 2 months ago, was an Olympian. Now he's in the pros and in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Well, they were able to spring Makela away on that one. He keeps coming across the blue line all the way behind the Devils' defense and then gets it, and he has to turn around by the